Alrighty then, welcome to the Spartan Sports Podcast. I'm Zachary Lockerman. Today I'm joined with
Thomas Chavez
Tyler
and
Castillo.
all right, guys. It's been a long time. How have you been? How's the pandemic been treating you?
It's been a rough almost a year since we've done our last podcast now. So
It has been rough.
It hasn't been fun. I will say that much.
How about you, Tyler?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of being locked up all the time, and I really miss the regular life of everything. And but I've been you could say fiending to do a podcast for quite some time again. So here we are. I'm glad we're back.
All right, and as anyone who may be listening knows, we're all students at MSU. We all have a passion for sports. That's what we like to discuss. We enjoy late night runs to Sni-Fi, to get some warm cookies. That's what we do.
And
But as for
McDonald's
today,
when Sni-Fi is closed.
yes.
Yep, and McDonald's and Sni-Fi is closed. Yes.
So a lot of things in sports we've missed in a year. It's been a big year. I mean, big and small year for sports. A lot of things were canceled, but then they came back. A lot of excitement. Starting off, NFL. It's Super Bowl week, baby. Well, almost Super Bowl week, at least. Tom Brady, 10th Super Bowl. Tyler, I know you're a fan. What do you think about this?
I'm gonna be honest. I watched the whole Packers Bucks game, and they started off on fire, and I was excited. And then things just started going downhill for a second, and I got worried. I'll be honest, but they pulled it out, and TB12, he does his thing, going to his 10th Super Bowl now. I actually have a really crazy fact that I just totally came across up on Twitter. Tom Brady has he's 10 of 21 for Super Bowl appearances in his career. He has a higher percentage to go to the Super Bowl than Steph Curry does making a 3-pointer. So I thought that was pretty crazy. But that's my boy. That's my boy, and
pretty
I'm
impressive.
gonna ride it out. But I'm kind of scared because the Chiefs got they're just lethal all the way around. So, and I know you're a big Pat Mahomes, Zach. So.
Well, Thomas, do you want to say anything before I go on this Patrick Mahomes train?
Yeah, I mean, for Tom Brady to be doing what he's been doing since 2000 is quite amazing. He didn't have the best game against the Packers. He got bailed out by the Packers not being able to score off turnovers. But honestly, I feel like the Bucs have a chance in the Super Bowl, and I think it should be a good show.
I 100% agree. I did watch the game versus the Packers, and I was very kind of disappointed in Aaron Rodgers. Three picks in the second half usually does something with those. I mean, what more can you say about Tom Brady? At this point, this guy is playing career mode on Madden. I mean, 10 Super Bowls in a career, you only do that in video games. And this guy's sitting here at 43 doing it in real life. I mean, I don't think there's any argument anymore the greatest of all time. In this point, you could at least argue maybe a greater athlete of all time, but at this point, I mean, 10 Super Bowls, Tom Brady's got that under wraps. Even all heads must bow, to greatness, and I do that today. But Super Bowl week, he's playing the real bad man, as Stephen A. likes to say, Patty Mahomes, the most talented quarterback of all time. Not the greatest yet. Needs at least 10 more seasons and 9 or 8 more Super Bowl appearances to make that happen, but who knows what'll happen. But I think they'll win. I don't think that Tom Brady has the arm to keep up with Patty Mahomes. I think the Chiefs defense is underrated. That's just how I feel about everything.
If Brady wins this year, do you think he retires?
No, dude's locked in, man. He's locked in.
You think he's staying for another year?
He's still got that extra year on his contract, so he might as well.
I think there's a chance he retires to go out on top.
No, I don't think there's. I don't think he cares about that at all.
That's not his mentality. I don't think he doesn't care.
And the reason I believe that is because Gronk is I want to come back, and the fact that Gronk is saying he wants to come back, he wouldn't come back without Brady. If he had any thoughts that Brady was retired, listen, Brady's playing until he's 50. Dude wants to.
Plus, if he would have cared when he got his 6th ring, he probably would have retired because that's still more than anybody ever. So, why wouldn't you? But I don't know. I don't know if he wins. I think Zach's right. I think Chiefs have an explosive offense. Their defense is probably the most underrated in the league. But I do know that the Bucks, when Tom Brady's running on all cylinders, the Bucks are nasty on offense too, and their defense is quite underrated in my opinion as well.
And as a Steelers fan, they're getting AB back. And I love myself some AB, and I can tell you that not a lot of people know this, but AB's clutch. In the biggest games, AB has always shown up. So that could change something. That could change. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Thomas, any last thoughts on Super Bowl week?
I mean, the Bucks are getting a lot of weapons back for the Super Bowl, so hopefully it's at least competitive. I think that this Super Bowl might honestly be what we thought we were getting with the AFC Championship game, where you're going to have like an offensive like fight,
Yeah.
But I don't know. It could also end up being a blowout, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Patty Mahomes is not Josh Allen, that's for sure. Alrighty then, moving on. We got some exciting news in the world of quarterbacks this offseason. Moves everywhere. It's been crazy. Starting off with, as MSU students, not myself, but the people that are here with me, big fans of Matthew Stafford. I've been told many times by all of them he's the most underrated quarterback in the league. And now there's a chance, not more than a chance, that he will be leaving Detroit. What do you think about this, guys? I need to hear what you think.
Do you want to go first, Tyler?
No, I think I'm going to have a lot to say, so I'm just going to – Thomas, you go first, because I think I'm the real Stafford guy in here.
I'll go first. I've never been a huge Stafford fan myself, so I'm not upset to see him go. I mean, I don't know how much of a return you're going to be able to get for him. He's over the age of 30 and has had some injury issues the last couple of years. I think you can probably maybe get a first-round draft pick for him, not anything much more than that. It would be really interesting if they could get a veteran quarterback and a pick back so that they can draft his replacement and still have a serviceable quarterback to start. But I honestly don't know exactly where you'd get that from.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, Thomas, but then again, I also think, a lot of quarterbacks are going into their 40s, and although, Stafford, has had some injury issues, I think he does have some return, but you're right. You're not going to get more than maybe a first round pick and, maybe someone, a veteran quarterback who hasn't had exactly the best career. But I want to start and say, I'm grateful for Matthew Stafford. I've always been a big, supporter of him. And, I got, Zach in the group chat that we have always throwing some shade at me, saying this and that about Stafford. But I truly do think he's probably the most underrated quarterback in history. If not, he's up there. He's, you're with the Lions. You look at all the careers that have been just completely just thrown down the drain. You got Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, two of the biggest positional names, ever in history. And, you just go to the Lions and that's been their history of what they're going to do to you. And Stafford has experienced the same thing. So, I mean, he's got a ton of records. I love the guy, but at the same time, I'm sad, but I'm also happy for Stafford because, wherever he goes, as long as it's not Chicago, I'm going to be happy and I'm going to root for the guy. So, but I don't know. I hope me and my buddy, my roommate, we were chatting literally last night about it, and we were saying Denver kind of needs a quarterback, so maybe they give us the 9th pick for Stafford, and then we pick up someone like a Zach Wilson. But that's kind of a stretch. I don't know. We were just kind of freeballing on that. So,
speaking of Chicago, I don't mean to move on from Stafford too quickly. I think somewhat underrated. I don't think he's always been the most underrated. That's just my opinion. But speaking of Chicago, there's been some reports that maybe they're thinking about moving on from the Trubisky game. I mean, what do you guys think about it? Do you think it's time to just move on, to cut the losses?
Did you see why they drafted Trubisky over Mahomes and Watson? It was because Trubisky went to dinner with the general manager, and the general manager decided, I like him, I'm going to draft him. It wasn't based off of talent. It was just because the general manager liked the guy. So, the fact that this
sounds like Chicago.
The fact that this is a failed experiment does not surprise me. Yeah, it's time to move on from him. He has not shown to be a franchise quarterback at all, and he will probably be a backup quarterback for the rest of his career, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm going to go right off of Thomas and say that's true. I think Trubisky is a straight dumpster can. Like, the dude is just, in my opinion, I mean, I'm a Lions fan. I don't really like the Bears. I think he's horrible. I'll give him props. He did kind of have, at the end of the year, he did kind of turn it up for a second. But, I mean, it's Mitchell Trubisky. There's, facts on the paper about this dude. So, I don't know. Definitely time to move on and try to find someone else to fill that hole at the quarterback for Chicago. Because I mean, they got a solid squad. They just need a quarterback that has the capability of more than what Trubisky can do, I guess.
That's honestly one of the teams that I thought the Lions could trade Stafford to. I know they're not going to because they're in division rivals, but like that is one of the teams that I would think like that would fit. You can get a draft pick.
He'd be a good fit there. Yeah.
Foles isn't good, but he's fine. He'll not lose you a game. So that would be a good fit, but I don't see it happening because of the rivalry between them.
I'll say one thing, and that's I would probably rather have Trubisky on the Steelers roster than I would Dwayne Haskins, but that's a different story for a different day. Speaking of quarterbacks drafted around Mitch Trubisky, a little bit more drama. Deshaun Watson officially requested a trade from the Houston Texans. You're looking at a few places, maybe Jacksonville. They have the capital. Maybe Maybe New York. They have the capital. That's where he wants to go. What do you guys think?
I think if you're any team that wants to win now, you have to go for it. Like San Francisco, like if you think that there's a chance you can get Deshaun Watson, why would you not trade everything for him? You have a good roster. You need a quarterback, and maybe Deshaun Watson puts you over the edge where Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't able to.
Yeah.
I agree. I think a lot of these teams that have, quarterbacks where they're kind of up in the air on things, like a perfect example that Thomas just gave is 49ers. Jimmy G, he made it to a Super Bowl, but it's like the question's kind of being raised, like, is this dude really the guy? Because he's got a lot of injury issues and he can't really stay healthy. And when he does, he's really not that great. So, a team like the 49ers, I heard Watson wants to go to Miami too, which I don't know how that would work.
They could get their draft picks
Tua
back.
and Deshaun. Like, I don't know. I don't know. The Jets, I don't know why that. I don't know why in the hell he would want to go to the Jets, but I mean,
that's his number one. That's his number one. That's where he wants to go.
But why? Like, the Texans are a horrible organization, which is why he wants to leave them. And he's just going to end up in another horrible organization that he's going to
an even worse organization. Not even like. At least
the Jets do have some youth to build around, though.
Yeah,
they have Mekhi Becton as your blindside tackle. You have some young pieces on defense. You're still not going to make the playoffs next year, Deshaun, if you go there. But they have a better future than the Texans do, at the very least.
Well, one thing I'll say about New York is that, for many years, especially when it came to free agency and stuff and where athletes wanted to be, it was always like LA or New York, the big markets to build your brand, earn all the money. But I just don't see that as the world anymore. You can with social media and all these things, you can build your brand from Saskatchewan, if that's where you want to build your brand from. Like, you don't have to be in these cities anymore. I don't understand why you'd be like, the Texans have treated me so terribly, but the Jets, they've done right by their stars. Let's go there. I don't understand why he wants to go there. If I'm him, we're picking sunny Miami all day, baby. Young squad. They have the capital to trade for you. That's where you want to be at. Why New York? I don't understand.
You can trade Tua for Watson plus, picks back to the Texans that you stole from them in the Tunsil trade.
Third pick, Tua, at least you can get a young guy who can try and build around. You have the perfect team for him. You're in Texas. It's not like it's like Chicago or anything where he won't. Like, that is the best place for him to go. I don't know why he would want to go anywhere else, but we'll see. And, there's been some other things, like I said, Dwayne Haskins, drama, this, that, and the third. But let's move on to the NBA, baby, because whereas one season is ending, the other one is just getting underway, baby. The train is moving. We're getting her going. What have you guys been enjoying watching this year with the NBA?
You know,
I
I
can start. I can start this one first if
you
need
want to
be.
start, go ahead, sir.
Feel free. Go ahead, Zach.
The biggest thing that I've just enjoyed sinking my teeth into with the NBA this year is the
LeBron
greatest
James.
player of all time in year 17, 25, 7 and 7 with an almost career high in 3-point shooting. He says we won't focus on assists this year. They think I can't shoot. We're going to reinvent the wheel. We're going to learn to shoot. We're going to dominate. And that's what I've enjoyed the most with the NBA. LeGoat James, greatest of all time. No one comes close. What do you got, Thomas? What do you got?
I mean, I'm not going to necessarily disagree with you, but like,
Oh my God.
I mean, I guess, sure. But I mean, one of the things I'm looking at right now is the Nets, dude. I think they're in a situation where they have too many stars on their team. The ball can only go to so many people at once. And
I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what they were thinking with that trade.
If they traded Kyrie, it makes sense. But I don't think Houston wanted Kyrie because Kyrie was off doing this weird stuff, you know?
He's such a weirdo, dude.
Weirdest dude by far in the NBA.
So
dude
weird.
thinks the earth is flat. You want to? No one wants a dude who thinks the earth is flat on their team. Like, come on.
Did you guys see him when he went to Boston and he had the sage and he was just like putting the sage all in the building?
I don't understand, dude. But I mean, nonetheless, like you trade away pretty much a lot of your support pieces just to get James Harden, which phenomenal player. But at the same time, he just gives you what you already have with Kyrie and Kevin Durant, and that's a lot of scoring. You know, he's not going to bring any defense, and he's not going to be able to play center for you, and now you don't have a center on your team besides DeAndre Jordan. So you're in trouble.
And I hate to say this, I don't want to be a hater, but James Harden is a loser. I mean, I hate to be that guy, but the dude is a loser. Wherever he's ever gone, whoever he's ever played with, he's only ever been a loser except for when he was in OKC, and he still lost. He doesn't have the right personality to be a winner. Look at the teams that have won recently. You got LeBron James, one of the most selfless superstars in history. Steph Curry, who took a step back as the alpha for Kevin Durant. I mean, like, those are the teams that win. You know, Toronto, great team basketball. The Spurs, when they were winning, great team basketball. You can't win with 3 alphas on one squad unless someone takes a step back. And James Harden's not going to take a step back. Kevin Durant's past the point where he was going to take a step back. And Kyrie Irving couldn't make it work in Boston, where he had the most talent out of any team in the league. That's just
Time
how
out for a second. Time out. So going off of that, Zach, I just want to say that I think KD has progressed enough as a player to realize that if he needs to take a step back, he can. Because he did go to Golden State. He was a part of that whole experience. So he knows what it's like to have a bunch of superstars on the squad. I think the real issue is going to come with Kyrie because he's just crazy and he's so weird. And like, I don't know how to explain him as a person, but I think the biggest issue is going to come with Kyrie because KD and James Harden have been teammates before. Like, obviously James Harden wasn't at the epiphany of the career he is at right now, but he has, they've worked together before. And I think that James Harden can take a step back. There's been a couple games where I saw, because I have Harden on my fantasy team, and he's had only 20 points or 12 points. But going off what Thomas said earlier too, is he doesn't think that he can bring much to the game other than scoring. But he's got a lot of triple doubles. I mean, that accounts for something. I'd say. I'm not saying I'm a huge Nets guy because I really could care less, and I honestly agree with you guys that it's probably not going to work. But I think that if Kyrie can get over himself and, KD can do what he did with Golden State and James Harden can finally realize that if he wants to win, he has to just fall into the place of where he belongs, then it could work. But then again, they're all just trying to beat a 37-year-old in LA. So
I just don't know what you do without defense. You've got
that's true.
Second best defender
right,
is
Thomas,
probably Bruce Brown.
Yeah,
and here's what I'll say about that. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I just don't agree for this reason. When KD went from OKC to Golden State, that snake move he performed, he was already a teammate for several years with Russell Westbrook, where he already sort of had to take a back seat sometimes, and it was a battle back and forth. And he sort of naturally could be like, I'm still going to get my points. I'm still going to lead the squad with Golden State. James Harden, when he left OKC years upon years ago, he went to a franchise that literally handed him the keys and said, you're in charge. Like, every player he ever demanded to play for, he got, and it still never worked. That's the difference. You can say, well, I think he can take a step back. But I think when it comes down to it, he's going to get later on in the season, he's going to notice, well, I'm only getting like 21 points a game. I averaged like 35 2 seasons ago. Like, I just think it's bound to cause drama. That's just what I predict to happen. I don't mean it is going to happen, but you also got to think they don't have any supporting cast. They got to put up 140 points every night to win versus Cleveland. Not Cleveland with LeBron James, Cleveland with Kevin Love. Like, let's be very clear.
Kevin
Kevin
Love
Love
even
and Colin
playing?
Sexton.
I don't think
Like,
Kevin Love's even playing.
K Love's hurt. They still had to put up 146
It's
points.
Andre Drummond and
I just
Colin
don't
Sexton.
see how it works.
Yeah.
You're getting outscored by Andre Drummond, Tyler. That's the defense that you're looking at right now.
I was just saying, like, there's a possibility that if they figure everything out, it could work. But then again, it's most likely not going to. I'm not saying I'm a Nets guy. I'm just saying there is potential, obviously, because there's three superstars. But anyways, one thing I do want to say about Harden is the one thing I loved watching is the progression of his weight loss from like 3 days before he got traded to like when he was playing first for the Nets, because the dude looked like a freaking beefcake, and then he just like slimmed down all of a sudden like 3 days later.
He went from a beefcake
He lost
to
30 pounds. He lost 30 pounds in 4 days.
I don't get it. But anyways, I just wanted to say that.
Alrighty then. I mean, listen, only time will tell. Only time will tell with the Nets. But Tyler, I mean, we never asked you, never told us, what have you enjoyed watching the most this year in the NBA?
Oh yeah, so I actually have a good answer for this. I know you guys know this. I don't know if anybody else is listening knows this. I'm a big Carmelo Anthony guy, and you know, it's sad to see his progression has, you know, whatever fallen or whatever, but there's a new Melo in the league, and I'm kind of a big fan of him, you know, LaMelo Ball. So it's nice to see one Melo on the way out and one Melo on the way in. And, you know, also I really love Luka Doncic. I like watching the progression of these younger players finally move towards being, you know, full stars and being in the stardom. I think that's one of the big things that I've enjoyed watching the most this season.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, Luka Doncic is exciting, man. I mean, that's clearly the guy. Like you can argue who's better, but that's like clearly the guy. Like when after LeBron's gone, like it's his league. Like that's the next guy. It's not even really close.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
KD
agree.
will probably be better for a few years or a year or two, but it's Luka Doncic's league as soon as LeBron's gone. The dude is charismatic. He's a good-looking young guy. He's skilled as they come. He can do it all. He rebounds. He passes. He does it all. I mean,
yep. I agree.
I just think that he's the next guy.
You don't think it's Marvin Bagley?
Anything to say about that, Thomas?
You don't think it's Marvin Bagley?
I don't think it's Marvin Bagley.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Cassius Winston. Actually, he's doing pretty good with the Wizards.
Yeah, I mean, so is Xavier Tillman with the Grizzlies. But
alrighty then. So let's move on. Oh, you good? Do you have anything else to say? Any last thoughts about the NBA?
Just Jeremy Grant's a god. Moving on.
I agree. Jeremy Grant's a god.
Then. And so. Alrighty then. So NFL to NBA, back to NFL, but with a different topic, NBA draft. I just wanted to bring this up real quick.
NFL draft, you mean?
There's the whole, Trevor Lawrence gate. Yeah, my bad. Did I say NBA draft? I apologize.
Yeah.
Miscommunication on my end. The internet's lagging, man. It's not my fault. NFL draft. I apologize. Trevor Lawrence. Do you guys think he is all hype, or is he just another quarterback in the wind?
It's hard for me to say.
I think he's worth the hype. I think he's the hype.
I think he's worth the hype. I think
he's going to be worth all the hype.
I think he's that dude.
Yeah, that's what
I think he's that dude.
I think he's either going to be that dude or he's going to be nothing. It's going to be one of the two.
I can see that.
I am leaning towards he's that dude because he is.
I think it really depends.
Really good. Clemson.
But hold on. This is my thought process. If he does go to
this
Jacksonville,
is how I sort of.
Urban Meyer's there now, and like he's been a college coach, so I think he's going to be perfect to kind of like lead him into that next step because they're going to kind of be taking it at the same time. So it's going to be like a progression thing, I think.
Do you think he's falling to Jacksonville?
Jacksonville
is the number one pick. Crap, the Jets suck. I forgot.
Yeah.
The Jets suck at losing and winning. It doesn't make any sense.
I forgot that the Jets didn't have the number one pick.
Here's how I look at it. If I'm Jacksonville, and I know this is a little wonky because they say Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be the next great thing. If I'm Jacksonville, I'm taking Deshaun Watson from the Texans. And here's why. The Jacksonville has never shown the ability to develop a quarterback. Why not go for the guaranteed superstar? We're not talking about Gardner Minshew. I refuse to have that conversation.
No, I'm not talking about Gardner Minshew. I'm talking about the GOAT, Blake Bortles.
We're not doing this. They have shown a penchant to not be able to develop a quarterback, even in Blake Bortles and Blaine Gabbert and all those guys. Why not take the guaranteed thing? Let the Texans worry about developing the guy into a great star. They've already shown with Deshaun Watson, who's almost as good as you can really get. I mean, you can't get much better unless you're Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers. Take the guarantee and then build around him. He's still young. What is he, like 25, 26? If that.
I think he's older than that.
He's young. I think he's younger than that. I think he's like 25.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's like
old.
he's very young. I think he's very young. And he's not 27. There's no way he's 27.
I'm looking it up. If my internet will.
He's 25.
25. Okay, listen. Okay. 25. Tom Brady's 43 and he's about to play in his 10th Super Bowl. I don't think, age is such a huge factor. My point being, take the guarantee, trade away the number one pick, let the Texans think they're getting the next great thing. And when they also can't build around Trevor Lawrence like they couldn't build around Deshaun Watson, I mean, you won. I mean, what else? I mean, that's just what I would do. But that's why I'm not an NFL GM. I don't have the job.
I mean,
I don't know.
Jacksonville has pieces. They have a nice young team. If you add,
they got a good running back. They got good receivers. You're right. They had the pieces. Like, they probably need a better defense because I don't think their defense is
still young, though. Like, they can develop a defense and just get some nice pieces in the draft and pick up some key free agents. I mean, that could be a playoff team next year if you have Deshaun Watson.
They got Deshaun Watson, yeah.
Not if you have Trevor Lawrence. I think he's going to need a year or two before he can drag a bad team to the playoffs.
He definitely will need at least a year, probably more.
I mean, because it gets real interesting, right? So say if they do make that trade with the Jets, I don't imagine. I mean, they probably more than likely wouldn't take Justin Fields, mainly because I just don't know how it would fit in Justin Fields. People haven't been too hot on him lately, despite he had an impressive year, impressive win over Clemson. I mean, people haven't been too hot on him. So, I mean, it gets real iffy. If they don't take him, well, then you got Miami there at 3. Do they take Justin Fields? I mean, doubt it. I mean, do you want to, after a year after taking Tua, do you also want to take Justin Fields?
Miami's invested too much in Tua right now. They need to give him at least another year or two.
I don't know. I just think everything's up in the air right now. I think that once all these trades and trade rumors are settled, I think that's when you can really start cluing in on what's going to happen in the draft. But right now, everything's so up in the air on, what's Miami doing? What's Jacksonville going to do? Are they going to push for Deshaun? Are they going to push for Deshaun? Where's Tua going? If he does get traded, what's happening with this and that? And, what if Stafford gets traded to what team? That could change everything too. Everything's just so up in the air. It's so hard to decide on, or even try to make a mock draft of what you think is going to happen.
Yeah, the dominoes need to start falling before we can actually say
There's so many quarterbacks that are we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, even Aaron Rodgers said himself that he's not sure if he's going to be back with the Packers. I mean, it's probably one of the craziest years in history for quarterback movement. I mean, every team, or not every team, but a lot of teams looking for QBs. Heck, even the Steelers are is Ben gone? Is Ben Roethlisberger gone? Is he retiring? Is he staying? if he does stay, he's got to take a pay cut. I mean, there's a lot of things as far as quarterbacks this year. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
It
crazy.
really is. It really
and
is.
We can. Yeah. So one more transition. Went from NFL to NBA to NFL. We can head back to the NBA for a little bit of prediction, a little bit of end of year future analysis, early finals predictions. I'll start off. LeGoat James will win this year once again, and I think that he will beat some team. Who knows? It'll be one of them. It don't matter which one it is, to be honest with you. He's going to win. Jesus could lace up in a pair of J's, and LeBron James will still beat him in the finals.
Stop. God, I cannot handle you. LeBron
What is your guys'
all
prediction? We're getting a little choppy here.
I mean, I think it's going to be Lakers in the finals again. Their team is way too talented to not make it back. Who they go up against? My gut says the
Sixers.
Celtics. Jaylen Brown has been balling recently. He's probably a most improved candidate. Probably will lose to Jeremy Grant, but with the way Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum can play, they're finally getting Kemba Walker back. That isn't actually like a group of 3 stars that can actually work together because they can all share the ball. So I think Celtics will probably make it to the finals, but they will lose to the Lakers because LeBron James and Anthony Davis paired together is just too good, to be honest.
Just too good.
As much as I hate to say
it goes just to go, and then AD is the OD.
As much as I hate
LeBron
to
is
say
the just to go, and then AD is those last 2 letters.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Okay. Anyways, as I was saying, Zach, as much as I hate to say it, I think the Lakers are going to be back in the finals because there's just, and the thing is with the Western Conference, I think, is that like there's all these consistent guys. There's always you can almost always count on the like the Clippers and the Nuggets, and it's kind of up in air this year because like the Warriors are like kind of iffy, like and then the Trailblazers are also like nah, like what, and then there's people like the Suns and the Grizzlies, blah blah blah, and then the Jazz. I'm looking at the standings right now. I didn't even know they were in first place of the Western Conference because like who would have thought the Jazz are in first place, but I think those teams in the Western Conference, like they get there and then they're just like, it's just like they play in LeBron. So like, but even if they're not, they've like, none of the teams have really ever proved themselves to win in the finals. So you can't ever have a consistent person. And then you have the Lakers and they have LeBron and AD and it's like, okay, well, they've made it there. They've done that. Like, so I think the only choice you really have right now of like picking who is going to be there for the Western Conference is the Lakers. Cause that's just the most blatantly obvious. And then the Eastern Conference is just so weird.
And people are.
Go ahead, Zach.
Oh no, I was going to say and don't forget about the Clippers in the West. Also, people are not thinking about them as much this year, but they're still a threat. I mean, they can still beat the Lakers.
I mean, yeah, but like I was saying, like the Clippers are definitely a threat. They got Kawhi and Paul George, everybody else, but it's like they get there and then they just fall apart. Like even when it was Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan, they never made it past the Western Conference final because they just couldn't.
They never
win.
made it to a Western Conference final.
Oh, they didn't?
Chris Paul's only Western Conference final came with the Rockets.
Okay, whatever. Anyways, like that's what I'm saying though. Like they're the organizations just don't win for some reason. I don't get it. Like they just always fall apart when it matters the most. You can be regular season heroes all you want, but when you get to the postseason, it's like,
they're losers.
Does it really matter? Yeah, you're a bum. Like it doesn't matter anymore. You're a bum. So just you might as well just go home. And then, anyways, the Eastern Conference, it's just so weird right now. You got the Nets, like I said, but it's not going to work. The cohesion isn't going to exist in time. It's probably going to crumble and just be horrible. The Sixers are okay, but Ben Simmons is overrated and always has been, in my opinion. I think he's a garbage can, but that's just me. And then the Bucks, Giannis is a beast, but like there yet again, just like the Western Conference. They can get there, but they never can finish. So it's like, I don't know if I can count on them. But I like what Thomas said with the Celtics. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are slowly turning into one of the nastiest duos on the court. Finally moving up in the ranks. But I'm going to say Lakers, and let's just go Bucks because I like Giannis. And then the Lakers are probably going to win, but whatever. I mean, that's just how it rolls when you're got LeBron James on your team, even though he's not the GOAT, but it's fine.
Yeah, my final prediction would probably be Lakers 76ers. I think it's finally their time. I mean, if they don't do it this year, you got to break it. It's time to tear it down if you don't do it this year. I mean, you've had long enough to break through, the ceiling, and I think it's just time.
I think the Sixers need to trade Ben Simmons.
Everyone good?
I think the Sixers need to trade Ben Simmons.
I get that argument. He's not he's not LeBron James like people say he is, but
he can't shoot the rock.
Already then.
He's a bum. But okay, I'm done. Sorry, I'm done. I'll go on forever about him.
It's all good. Listen, guys, thank everyone who watched this episode of the Spartan Sports Podcast. First one post-pandemic. I hope we can make some more. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you all have a good day. Last words from the boys.
We're trying to come up with a new name. So
yeah,
we might rebrand ourselves at some point.
Rebranding is important. Suggestions
we
are
might
already.
We might not.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you very much. Peace.
Thanks.